Away from the endless rhythm of Manhattan, Thierry Henry begins his day in a space defined by silence, light, and conscious distance. No trophies, no applause, no memories of roaring stadiums, only architecture that radiates control and clarity. His life between New York and London is a story not of fame, but of decisions. How do you turn a soccer legend into a legacy that reaches far beyond the field? Thierry Henry was born on August 17, 1977, in Les Ulis, a tough suburb south of Paris. His parents were from the Antilles, and the neighborhood where he grew up taught him early on how to deal with noise, pressure, and the daily struggle for recognition. Soccer there was neither a hobby nor a luxury. It was a way out. Even at 7, his talent was unmistakable, but he struggled with discipline. His father firmly believed that only strict structure could open a path forward and pushed him relentlessly, sometimes beyond his limits. This constant tension shaped Henry's quiet intensity, which has stayed with him throughout his life. As a teenager, he moved between small local clubs, always faster than the others, always one step ahead. But was talent alone enough to truly escape that environment? And could pressure actually be the key to a great future? In his youth, Thierry Henry moved between small regional clubs where his speed always stood out. He wasn't just faster than the others, he thought faster, recognized game situations earlier, and seemed to see the next move before it even happened. However, the decisive turning point came in a seemingly ordinary game when a scout witnessed Henry score 6 goals in a single match. This moment fundamentally changed the course of his life. Shortly thereafter, Henry was called up to Clairefontaine, France's renowned national performance center. This was no longer about street soccer or local youth games, but an environment where raw talent was systematically shaped into professional quality. Henry learned to control his speed, develop tactical discipline, and handle constant performance pressure. But could a young player from a tough suburb fully adapt to these strict structures? And was this already the solid foundation for the next, much more demanding step into the world of professional soccer? Shortly after his time at Clairefontaine, at just 17 years old, Thierry Henry signed his first professional contract with AS Monaco under manager Arsene Wenger. The boy from Les Ulis had opened the door to the global stage of soccer. His rise was meteoric. By 1998, Henry was in the French national team squad and won the World Cup on home soil. Fame came early, but inner clarity remained elusive. The next step took him to Italy to join Juventus. There, everything changed. In a defensive system, far from his natural position, Henry seemed lost. 3 goals in 16 games told a harsh story. Many young stars break at this point, quietly and permanently. Henry's career was also suddenly on the brink, but instead of putting pride over trust, he made a bold decision. He followed Arsene Wenger to London to join Arsenal. Was this step a risk, or his last chance to truly become himself? At Arsenal, everything changed for Thierry Henry. Arsene Wenger played him in his natural position as a center forward, and suddenly his game unfolded with total clarity. Speed, game intelligence, and a calm finish merged into a presence that defined the club. Titles followed. In 2002, Arsenal won the English Championship. In 2004, the unthinkable happened, an entire season without a single defeat. Henry didn't just score goals, he shaped an identity. He became the captain, the symbol, and the standard all at once. With success, the pressure grew. Expectations rose, the team changed, and the weight of responsibility became heavier than ever. As their sporting dominance gradually faded, Henry faced another decision. Should he stay and hold on, or recognize the right moment to move on? Was loyalty more important than the next step in his evolution? In 2007, Thierry Henry left London and began a new chapter at FC Barcelona. Once again, he had to adapt. Once again, success meant sharing space and learning patience. He played alongside Lionel Messi and Samuel Eto'o, finding himself in a team where individual brilliance served the collective. It was a different role, less central, but no less demanding. The reward came in 2009. Barcelona won 6 major titles in a single year, making soccer history. For Henry, this moment meant more than just trophies. He had fully experienced and completed soccer at the highest level. But what remains when even the greatest success is achieved? And how do you recognize the right time to let go before your body forces the issue? As he grew older, it became clear that the game was changing. Younger players were coming through, and the pace remained relentless. In 2010, Thierry Henry made a conscious decision to move to the New York Red Bulls. It wasn't a step back, but a step toward balance. New York offered him distance from European pressure, a new rhythm, and the chance to live soccer without constant expectations. Henry ended his playing career there, announcing his retirement in 2014. But walking away from the field didn't mean standing still. Coaching roles, media work, and strategic investments followed. His resume was no longer defined solely by goals, but by adaptability, realignment, and a sense of timing. When is it time to move on? And how do you turn sporting success into a stable future beyond the game? After the end of his playing days, Thierry Henry's life moved into spaces that reflect peace and control. In Manhattan, he owns a penthouse on Crosby Street, high above the bustle of Soho. The apartment is defined by glass, light, and clean lines. Floor-to-ceiling windows bring the skyline into the room, while the height provides distance from the city's noise. It is a place of observation rather than the hunt, a sanctuary that fosters clarity. Another chapter unfolds in England, at his private estate in Hampstead, North London. Hidden behind dense greenery, the house blends traditional brick facades with modern architecture. Spacious living areas open to the garden, with glass surfaces dissolving the boundaries between indoors and out. A private cinema, an indoor pool, and quiet bedroom suites reveal a life focused not on making an impression, but on finding balance. What does a home say about a person's choices? And why does silence often become the ultimate luxury after a life in the spotlight? The cars Thierry Henry drives also speak to his current mindset. The Bentley Bentayga suits his current pace of life. It's not a vehicle for attention, but for quiet authority. A large luxury SUV that moves effortlessly through the city, quiet, insulated, and controlled. It's used after meetings, dinners, or late-night conversations, often with family or close friends. Inside, silence reigns, leather muffles the noise, and everything feels orderly. Beside it sits the Renault Megane RS, a total contrast. Compact, aggressive in design, and direct in its driving feel. This car isn't about status, it's about emotion. Henry drives it when he wants to feel precision, when speed and reaction are the focus. The steering is sharp, the sound is raw, and every movement is a reminder of training grounds and years of competition. Two vehicles, two sides of the same life. What role does control play, and when does feeling become more important than comfort? Thierry Henry's financial success can be distilled into one figure, roughly $130 million. But that sum didn't appear overnight, nor was it the result of a single contract. It grew step by step, built on top-tier salaries, consistent performance, and decisions that reached far beyond the pitch. At the start of his pro career, Henry earned about $500,000 a year in France and Italy. Solid, but far from the elite tier. The big shift happened in London. Under Arsene Wenger at Arsenal, his salary rose to as much as $10 million annually, supplemented by bonuses and performance incentives. At Barcelona, his base salary was slightly lower, but title bonuses regularly pushed his annual income to $11 or $12 million. Later in New York, he became the MLS's top earner, starting at $5 million a year. Even after retiring, his income remained stable through coaching contracts, media work, and lucrative endorsements with brands like Nike and Puma, as well as international campaigns. How do you manage to turn sporting fame into permanent financial security? With his wealth secured, Thierry Henry increasingly focused on responsibility. As a longtime UNICEF ambassador, he supported vaccination programs, school construction, and child protection projects in Africa and the Caribbean. At the club level, he worked through the Arsenal Foundation to promote education, social integration, and youth development. Since retiring, more resources have gone toward anti-racism work, disaster relief, and grassroots soccer. Here, success isn't measured by trophies, but by quiet changes in the lives of others. In his private life, Henry lives more consciously and calmly today. Fitness remains part of his routine, not for competition, but for balance. His closeness to his children is especially visible. Shared training sessions, birthday moments, simple time spent together. Fewer trips, more routine, less need to prove anything. After decades of intensity, he has chosen stability. What remains when the noise stops? And what values endure long after the applause has faded? Thierry Henry's journey shows how to recognize the right moment to let go and choose a new path. If you enjoyed this insight, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments which section impressed you the most and who you'd like to see next.